Well, world, it is Friday, October 23rd. A beautiful sunny day as I look out my window, blue skies, breezy, and I think warm temperatures for today, and then the coolness returns tomorrow. So it might be a good day to get outside, and if you have any outdoor work to do and you're not working a job, you can get outside and enjoy the weather a little bit. Today's devotion is entitled Burning, written by Molly Baskett. Molly bases the devotion upon Psalm 97, verses 3 through 5 from the Message. Fire blazes out before him, flaming high up the craggy mountains. His lightnings light up the world. Earth, wide-eyed, trembles in fear. And Molly writes, one of the many wonderful things about living in Northern California is that it is guaranteed not to rain on you if you go camping in the summer. So imagine my surprise when lightning awoke me from a sound sleep in my tent at 4 a.m. last month. At first, my New England-born heart was deeply gratified. It is not summer without a thunderstorm. Then my California-living lizard brain thumped awake. Lightning without rain equals potential wildfire of apocalyptic proportions. And so it was. People fled with sleepy toddlers and half-packed coolers in the dark. The fires sparked that night didn't truly get going for a few more days, but a month later, they still burn, 3.3 million acres and counting. Even normally sanguine West Coasters tremble at the scope, the scale, the unbreathable skies orange with smoke. 100 years ago or more, indigenous communities here offered to teach the interlopers how to manage wildfire. They sent intentional burns to draw down the fuel supply, renew the land, and befriend fire as a ritual practice. But white settlers, hardening their hold on the land and bending it to their own purposes, banned the indigenous practices. Now these lands have become powder keg. Today, partnerships are rekindling between indigenous leaders and state officials with experiments in planned burns. Planned burns, not controlled burns, because a controlled burn is one more attempt for humans to exert their grip over the rest of nature. Control over nature puts humans at the center to protect our lives and property alone, failing to recognize the worthy thou in a sempervirens redwood grove, catalyzed to grow more of itself after a fire, or a bay laurel forest rioting with new shoots a year after it burns. I grieve the loss of life, lament the essential workers inhaling foul air and bunker indoors from smoke, and yet my heart still thrills at the lightning and wonders. What are you trying to awaken in us with this show of force, Lord? And the prayer. God, set fire to our hearts instead of the world, that we can learn to live with and not against the earth and the people who know her best. Amen. Kind of reminded me of, and I can't remember the tree, that there is a specific tree, an evergreen with pine cones, that the only way that seeds are released from the cones is through fire. And so typically fires are needed in order for that forest to repopulate itself. And forest fires are kind of a natural phenomena, but in our desire to dominate nature and take over and live in natural lands, we've inhibited those things that would naturally occur from occurring, which is difficult, and it creates situations in which if there were planned burns, it's very different than allowing things to build to a point at which when a burn does occur, it gets out of control and begins to go places where we don't really want it to go. It also makes me think of Genesis and the whole concept of humanity given dominion over the earth. And dominion is not domination. People often get those two words confused. But dominion is responsibility to care for, not to dominate, not to use for our own purposes. Because depending upon how you read each of the creation stories, and there are two different ones, that is one of our purposes of living on earth, to care for God's creation, of which we are a part of, not separate from. So there's a lot to think about there. And I think we have to be cognizant of our actions every day and how they impact the environment and how even hidden things that we do and things that we rely on or take for granted each day, and the impact they may have on the environment. We need to be moving towards a more sustainable relationship to God's creation if we really want to be around for a long, long time to come. And I think that's what God intended. So, hope you have a good day. I hope you have a chance to enjoy this weather that we're having. And I will try to talk to you again tomorrow on Saturday.